just done everything in my power to educate myself on every little thing because, that way I know what's going on in supply chain, et cetera. But so I wish I knew a lot of that sooner too, because it just would have been better to set it up like this at the start and that kind of things. But yeah, it's just also a lot of, I don't know, like we had to reformulate the bars because like our first one, people just didn't like the flavor and the repeat purchase rate wasn't there. And so like having to, these cartons. So here, I'll show you. Like there used to be a thing where if you grabbed one of these bars, right, like this, see how the other ones slide forward? Yeah. And our first iteration of Feastables, when these slid forward like that, they would all fall out of the box. And so we had a major problem where
packaging problem.
Yeah, where it was a cardboard box engineering problem where I walked in a Walmart one time, right, and there's like the chocolate aisle in Walmarts in America are massive. We're talking like 100 feet wide. Yeah. Like there's so many chocolate products on there. I counted every single broken bar in the entire chocolate aisle. There's 74 broken bars across the entire chocolate aisle that we were 1% of. And 72 of the 74 broken bars were Feastables. We were like 95% of breakage, but we were only 1% of the shelf space. And it's because we didn't engineer our boxes properly. And so when you grabbed bars, the others would lean forward and sometimes it would cause the box to tip. Yeah. And then the compound on that is like our bars now, we have these like ridges on them. So like, they have these natural break points where it's not as extreme. So like if you snap this bar right here on a break point, it's still fine. Like the bar looks fine. Yeah. Even when you open it, it doesn't destroy the consumer experience. I mean, I prefer it not, but before we didn't have these break points. So it was basically like the bar was just a giant pane of glass. So when it fell like this, it would shatter. Yeah. And so then there's like, then it would all come down here. And then, so it was bad, like really, really bad. So we fucked up on the box. We now do cold seal on the things here so we can get it closer to the bar. So the wrapper is way tighter. We used to do heat seals on our manufacturing lines. So because of that, you don't want to melt the chocolate. So you had to have more space between the chocolate and the seal, which gave it more wiggle room, which made it way more prone to breaking. So we switched to cold seal. So now the wrapper's tighter, so it hugs it better. So it's way less prone to breaking. We also made the bar a little bit thicker, so it's a little more durable. So like, I mean, I messed up in every way imaginable. Like the box.
All of these things you learned on the way.
Yeah, exactly. Like the box was not engineered correctly. The bar was too breakable. The packaging was not tight enough, and we didn't have the machinery, so we had to like completely switch that to where we could. And I didn't know the difference between hot seal and cold seal. I just was like, oh, everyone just seals it the same way. No, it's like that's why our wrappers weren't tight enough, and so we had to switch to that. And I mean, I could go on and on and on. I mean, it was just even like the way the branding looked. Like even these are. It's funny. Here's a great case study. Look at the difference between these two boxes. I assume that camera over there can see it. Notice how like. See how this orange strip down here is small and this red one's bigger. So this is a newer Feastables box. This one's probably whatever, like 4 or 5 months old. So another problem is when all the flavors were side by side, it was really hard from a distance to tell which flavor was which. Yeah. So even after I engineered the new boxes, I updated the colors now. Now it's like, if this was the newer one, the newer orange is also a little bit brighter. Bigger, yeah. So now you can, from a distance, actually be able to tell the flavors, where it was a lot harder before. So that was like, I'm on like version like fucking 12 of these things, right? That was like the difference between version 11 and 12. You can even see how that has the black stroke that doesn't have the black stroke right here, the all new bars. See how there's
to make
black
it more legible and visible.
Yeah, and you can probably even tell like on the side, the bar pops a little bit more. See how there's a black stroke on the world's best chocolate? So that's more readable from a distance. The old box right here, it says enlarge to show detail, right? And they're like, oh, legally we have to put that there. And I'm like, why? This is actually smaller than our bar. We're not enlarging it. And like, I had to like 1v20 lawyers, and they're like, eventually they're like, yeah, you're right. You don't. And I was like, why? You see, because the old box, it says enlarge. And I was like, why? Why? And they were adamant. And I was like, why? And then eventually they conceded. And I was like, yeah, I don't understand. You can look at the top here, see how it says Milk Crunch. I mean, and then it used to say 10 bars on the left. This is an old thing we used to do, because when we were D2C, you'd buy the carton. Yeah. But in retail, no one's buying the carton. So this 10 bars is irrelevant. And I want people to more focus on the product. So I got rid of those words there. I mean, I have obsessed over every little thing on these bars, every little, here's another thing, right? See this black text at the bottom? It says milk chocolate with peanut butter. So that's because this is an older box.
And
so
the new one, it's not there.
Well, the new one, it's on the bottom here because you don't need to put it on the front, and it just looks way more appealing without it there. Like this, that just, I don't like it. So I moved it to the bottom. Now you're focused because it says milk crunch here and it's clearly chocolate. You don't need to write it right there. And so, I mean, I've obsessed over every little thing from like the divots on the bars to the like ratio of peanut butter inside the bars to the packaging. I mean, it's just been continuous improvement and through just brute force and trial and error. And if I could go back in time and just like tell
all of these things.
Oh, I mean, it would be because like switching the bars from like these glass pane things in these boxes, like these are things where like I have to shut down production and like literally halt everything for 8 months. Even little things like stories I've never told. Like I wanted to do like we at one point made like cookies, like just Feastables cookies. I was just curious to see how they would do. They were received pretty well. This was back before I was like super involved and knew every little thing going on in the weeds. And I was just like, here, let's just try some. Like we made like these gluten-free cookies. Nothing too crazy. Put them in some Walmarts and they sold well. Velocities were good, but I wasn't too passionate about it. And I was like, I really just mostly want to focus on chocolate. And we had these like gummies we do with Carl, but for the most part, I just want to focus on chocolate. And I really want to obsess over ethically sourcing chocolate. Yeah. And like how we can like make an impact and like show the world that you can ethically source it. And so then I was like, don't worry, let's just kill the cookies thing. We ended up losing like $5 million on like this little trial thing we were doing for the cookies. And it's like these little things, man, because you're like a startup and we're like, and I didn't have much experience and I wasn't as like in depth in like running everything. And I was just like, this is fucking crazy, man.
But that's an important lesson for all the creators who are trying to make their products. Yeah. That they really need to be hands-on. It's not going to be working on autopilot. It's not going to work when they are just going to be like, oh, let it beam out and sort of buy some shit. Like they really need to obsess over it the way you obsessed it. Because I'm so happy like you put it out. Because I speak to so many creators here in India specifically, talking about building products and stuff and what are their views. Yeah. Most of them, they just think that no matter what they put out, people will buy.
Even if they're putting out like that. But will they buy it 2 times, 3 times, 4 times?
Exactly, that's
what matters.
The one. Like they want to build a business out of it.
Selling something one time is not a business. That is just I don't know. It's money. That's just but a business is getting someone to buy something 10 times a year for the next 10 years. Yeah. That's a business, which agreed, they're not. But the thing is, I own Feastables. And so that's where it's different. Like I would advise most creators just partner with some. Like if you wanted to launch candy, go partner with Ferraro, and just like do candy with them and let them handle this logistics, supply chain, manufacturing, finance, distribution, et cetera. And you just market it, right? And just get like a fucking 20% off the top royalty deal. That's what I think most creators should do. Like they shouldn't run the business. Like they'll never, like most creator businesses are just going to go up, to sell one, and then the repeat purchase rate's not going to be there. And then they'll just end up shutting it down within 5, like 95% of creator brands right now, 5 years from now will not exist. And then, but you have to think of the opportunity cost for the creator, because imagine an inverse scenario where instead of launching popcorn, promoting popcorn a bunch, promoting for 2 years, and then realizing, oh, this isn't working out, and then slowly shutting it down over the next 2 years, and you essentially net nothing because it's very hard to be a profitable company. Yeah. Now imagine that where you basically, best case scenario, it's a wash. Let's say they don't lose any money. Versus one where instead of promoting the popcorn, they're doing brand deals. And it's like someone who's getting $50,000 a brand deal and they do brand deal over the course of 4 years. Like there's a multi-million-dollar net difference. And that's assuming you don't even invest that multiple millions of dollars in the stock market and the gains and stuff there. Like the opportunity cost is actually massive. And I think a lot of creators starting brands are just wildly messing up. Like I think they would be because most of them aren't entrepreneurs and they're just going to fail. And it'd be so much better off just doing brand deals and putting that effort into their content. Or like I said, just doing a royalty deal with someone who actually knows what they're doing.
Partner with someone who knows how to do
exactly, because like the odds of them running a product at scale and having 20% margin and being able to do all these things it's just not going to happen for most of these creators. Whereas if they just we're like Ferrero, let's sell $4 bag of gummies. Every one bag I sell, give me 80 cents and put this shit nationwide. Yeah. Like they could make pretty good money doing that.
Thank you so much for watching this episode till the end. Please let us know in the comments, what did you like about this episode and what you didn't? What are the other topics and guests who you want to see on the episode on this podcast so that we can get them for you and provide you all the value and insights that we're already doing for you. Please comment and let us know. Also, send this episode to at least one person whose life's gonna change after watching this episode and understanding this conversation. And don't forget to subscribe this channel, because the more you subscribe, the more we grow, the better and the bigger the guests we get, just like this episode. I'll see you next time. Until then, keep figuring.